In this video, I'm going to show you how I started with this car and ended with this car. It took me just over a year to build this car. Most of my focus and energy was spent on the engine. I did go with a hybrid build for this car, which ended up making about 300 wheel horsepower. 2 years ago, I did a similar build on a 2003 WRX, and that car came out pretty good. But doing it again allowed me to apply all the lessons I learned from that project into this car to make it that much better. Like all of my project cars, this was going to be done on a budget. This is the car when I went to look at it on the first day. The front bumper was loose and it was from a different car. The carbon fiber hood was starting to come apart at the edges there. The rear hatch had been replaced with a black one, and the passenger side got swiped while playing in the snow with a friend. This car also had 0 compression in cylinder 4. So because of all this, I was able to get this car for just over $1,000. Despite not having any compression in cylinder 4, it still drove well enough to get it back to the garage. Not really making much power at all. It's got the check engine light flashing. Here we can see the issue. There's a big hole in the exhaust valve for cylinder 4. Okay, I just pulled the bucket shims out. Now I'm going to flip it over and start, chamber matching, I suppose. Chamber matching is the process of removing material from the cylinder head so that it matches up well with the short block. This picture shows how the 2-liter cylinder heads have a smaller bore than the 2.5 liter block. Again, this was a budget build, and so I decided to do the chamber matching myself. You can see there I was using the head gasket as a template to know how much material to remove. If you do plan to chamber match the cylinder heads instead of getting them machined, I do have a video on that, so be sure to check it out. For the hybrid build I did 2 years ago, I did not chamber match the cylinder heads. I just put the 2-liter heads right on the 2.5 liter short block, and so that car only made 210 wheel horsepower on 91 octane. The advantage though was that it spooled up very quickly. So for this build, I wanted to retain the quick spooling characteristics of the old engine, and by chamber matching the cylinder heads this time around, I'd be able to turn up the boost safely and avoid pre-detonation. Here I'm resurfacing the cylinder head. I do have a video on that if you want to know how to do it. Okay, so I'm lapping in the exhaust valves right now. Rob at Kit Performance built the short block for this car. It's a 2.5 liter with the brand new crank, connecting rods, pistons, and sleeves from either an STI or a Legacy GT. Okay, I'm prepping the left side cylinder head to go on, so I just cleaned the surface here. And I'm getting ready to put the cylinder head on. I'll bolt it in and then put the cams back in it. I need headlights, for example. I have some eBay cheapies, but I wanted to get some OEM ones. So I've been looking on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. And so I found a parts car. And what do? Well, I bought the whole entire car, which was, I don't know if it was a good idea or a bad idea, but this is it. There's my headlights. Came with a whole car. So yeah, I have another car. What's the plan for this car? I'm not totally sure yet. The hybrid engine I've been building, I was thinking about putting it in this. You can see the engine here. It's pretty much ready to go. I spent the other day getting the turbo back on and the up pipe and exhaust manifold and everything, and you can see it has all new crush washers in here. So it's good to go. I've been debating, do I put it into this car? Or do I just put it in the white car because the body is much cleaner and that car has lower miles? I think I'm going to pull the exhaust off this car. It's got an SPT exhaust on it. It looks pretty nice. Get a quick vid. All right, so this one's out. That one's going in. I spent quite a bit of time getting the steering rack in. It's a totally new, well, remanufactured steering rack. Kind of see it down there. The flywheel is on. just a fork here. There's the throwout bearing on there. Pressure plate side, I just got the clutch on. All right, this is a Cobb downpipe. We put a lot of work into this thing so that it would pass emissions. And the way we did that is we welded in a Gessie G-Sport 300 catalytic converter that is EPA compliant. So there's no need to switch downpipes here to pass emissions. All right, I'm gonna drop the car and push it out and start it. This thing's pretty low. It's on teen sport springs. So it's already up to temp. It's got a little bit of an idle fluctuation. You can hear. We're gonna do a test. I'm going to drive around with my friend behind me. Black smoke. That looks black.
It's black.
What does that mean?
Rich. A lot of unburned fuel is what that's caused by.
For like the last month, I've been trying to diagnose a couple things. One is rough idle. The other one was not hitting full boost. Not even hitting wastegate boost pressure. I tried smoke testing it, I don't see anything. I tried pressure testing it. When I went to drive it, it's still not making any boost. Just gotten it back from Rob at Kit Performance, and he had done the math, sensor, new spark plugs. And then he also put a different tune on it. And by him doing that, we actually figured out that this car, you can see these are the injectors I pulled out of it. I thought they were just the STI pink injectors. It seems like they were modified, so they were flowing like 880 cc's instead of 565 or something like that. And so the tune just wasn't working for the car. And so I got some dark blue injectors from him. I'm hoping these fuel injectors are like the last thing. I had a lot of success on the last car, the 2003, going with an E-tune. And so that's what I did instead of a dyno tune. Again, this is a budget build, and the E-tune was much, much cheaper than a dyno tune locally. When collecting data for an E-tune, you have to run the car all the way to 6,000 RPM. All right, at this point in the project, it was time to sell the silver car. And you know, this car got the project started and donated a lot of nice parts like the turbo and the motor and the Cobb downpipe. And so I listed it on Craigslist, and some guys named Zach and Ray were interested. They came and bought the car. They are building this car to make around 500 wheel horsepower. I hope to do a video on that car soon. Here's a quick clip of Raymond's car.
Countless nights in the garage.
The white car did not come with fog light covers, so I pulled them off the silver car and then sanded them, primed them, and painted them white. I also cleaned up the headlights, just compounded them, and then here I'm just popping in those fog light covers. What do you think of the new rims? Oh, damn. I think they're gonna look nice. So the car looked pretty good, but it still had the winter wheels on it. I found these, and these are from an 06-07 WRX. They had some curb rash, so I had to clean them up and prime them and got them painted, but they came out looking pretty darn good if you ask me. Alright, I'm gonna start with the clay bar. So I ended up doing a mild paint correction on this car. I clay barred it and compounded parts that were bad, but really just whacks the car.
I'm used to turbo motors where, you know, they're good to like 1,000 RPM within their red line, and then you can feel them kind of wheezy. Like, this thing just felt like it was going to keep going.
Oh yeah, all the way to red line.
Yeah.
Okay, just to summarize some of the parts in this car, you can see it has the STI intercooler, and it has a VF39 turbo, it has the SPT intake and exhaust, has an 04 STI up pipe and a Cobb down pipe, GSC exhaust valves, and the cylinder head has been chamber matched. I'm super proud of this car. I built my first hybrid build 2 years ago, and that was an 03 Bug-Eye. This one was kind of like version 2.0. It was all the things that I wish I would have done on the first car. Right now, yeah, it's making 300 wheel horsepower, and that's like the safe, reliable tune Eric at Torque Performance said. Otherwise, I think it's a really cool looking car. I'm also proud of this project because I was able to do it on a pretty tight budget. If you're interested in seeing like the cost breakdown for this car, then just leave a comment and I may make a video if there's enough interest. Thanks for watching this video, and please consider subscribing if you want to see some of the projects I'm currently working on. I want to thank everyone that made this project possible. That includes the Strevey family for letting me continue to use their garage, Rob at Kit Performance, Eric at Torqued Performance, Paul at Flat 4 Freak for the white car, and Flatiron Subaru for all those parts.